to start the PC holder, I'm going to make a slip knot with my yarn, and then using my hook, I'm using my 3.5mm hook. I can't really see it. I'm going to make 13 chains. So I've got 13 chains, and to see if it's enough for your photo card, you can just line it up at the bottom, like so. And now I'm going to do one more chain for my turning chain, and I'm going to be working into the back loops. So the back loops are the bumps that are raised when you turn it over. First back loop is here, this one, and then the next one is here, and then this one, and this one. If the back loop is too hard, then you can just do it into the chain like normal. So you insert your hook, yarn over to pull up a loop, yarn over again and pull through 2, and you've got 1 single crochet. So into the next loop, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. And you'll end row 1 with 13 single crochets. If the stitches are tight, I just like to use my fingernails to push my hook through. And now, after doing the first row, we're going to chain 1 and turn our work for row 2, and we're just going to single crochet all the way down again. So you'll finish with 13 single crochets for row 2 as well. But this time you're going under both loops. So I finished row 2, so now we chain 1 and turn our work again. Row 3, we're going to single crochet 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and then we chain 1 and turn our work. And now we're on row 4, so we're going to start by single crocheting 2 together. So to do that, you just insert your hook into the first stitch, pull up a loop, insert your hook into the next stitch, pull up a loop. So then you have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, and then you pull through all 3. And then we're just going to finish the row with 4 single crochets. And then chain 1 and turn. And then we're on row 5, where we're going to do 3 single crochets. And then single crochet 2 together again. So to do that, insert your hook, pull up a loop, insert your hook into the next stitch, pull up a loop. You have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3. And then we chain 1 and turn. So for row 6, we're going to start by single crocheting 2 together, and then single crochet into every stitch to finish off the row. And chain 1 and turn. And then row 7 we single crochet once and then single crochet 2 together. Chain 1 and turn. And from row 8 to 13 we're going to single crochet into 2 stitches every row, so every row will only have 2 stitches. So row 8, 2 single crochets, chain 1, row 9, 2 single crochets and chain 1, row 10, row 11, row 12, and then row 13. And then for row 14 we're going to start by increasing and then single crochet. So to increase you just have to do 2 stitches in the same stitch. So in the first stitch do 1 single crochet and then go back into the same stitch to do 1 more and then single crochet into the next stitch. Chain 1 and turn. And then row 15 we do 2 single crochets and then increase in the last stitch. Chain 1 and turn. And row 16 we're going to increase and then 3 single crochets. Chain 1 and turn. Remember you have to chain 1 at the end of every row. And then row 17, 4 single crochets. And then increase in the last stitch. And that is one side of the holder. You can kind of see the heart, but we're going to make it more apparent later. After row 17 you can just chain 1 and then pull the yarn through. So now we need to do this side of the heart, and we're going to go back to our row 3. This is where the first side of the row 3 is, and we need to carry on working into here. So we're going to skip 1 stitch and start here, so it would be the 8th stitch if you started counting from the start. So we're going to put our hook through, and then we're going to attach yarn. Just put the yarn onto your hook and pull through and chain 1. And then into that same stitch we're going to single crochet. You can work over the ends of your yarn so that you don't have to weave them in at the end. And we're just single crocheting all the way down to the end. We'll have 6 single crochets. And then you chain 1 and turn. And then, so that's row 3 done, and now we're going to do row 4 where we do 4 single crochets. And then single crochet 2 together. A quick recap to do that. you insert your hook into the chain, into the stitch, pull up a loop, insert your hook into the next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops, chain 1 and turn your work. Now we're on row 5, where we single crochet 2 together and then single crochet 3 times. Chain 1 and turn. Row 6, we do 2 single crochets and then single crochet 2 together. Chain 1 and turn. Single crochet 2 together and then 1 single crochet. Chain 1 and turn. And now we're on row 8, so again row 8 to 13 we just do 2 single crochets for every row. I've just done row 13, I've chained 1 and turned, so now I'm going to start row 14 with a single crochet and then an increase. Chain 1, turn, increase, and then 2 single crochets. Chain 1, turn, row 16, 3 single crochets and then increase. And then row 17, we do an increase and then 4 single crochets. And then now we're going to start row 18, chain 1 and turn, and row 18 is when we're going to go into connect it back to this side, so we're going to work all the way across. So to do that we're just going to do 6 single crochets, so I've done 6 single crochets, and to match it up to the first 2 rows that we've done, I skipped 1 stitch, so I'm going to chain 1. So after chaining 1, I'm attaching it to the last stitch that we done. Be careful not to attach it to the chain 1 that you done to fasten off. So just going to single crochet to this stitch. And then you've attached them. So then row 18 you'll have 6 single crochets, 1 chain and then 6 single crochets again. I'm just working over the end from the first side. Chain 1 and we turn, and now it will look like this. I'm just going to put a stitch marker into the back loop of this chain because we're going to work into it later, so it'll be easier to see. So like that. And now for row 19 to 20 we're just going to do single crochets all the way across. And now row 20, which will be the last row. So to fasten off, you just chain 1 and then you can cut your yarn. And then weave in the ends. This is what we have so far, and if it's not tall enough for your photo card, you can add extra rows in. You can add an extra row at the bottom or at the top or both. Now we've got the main shape, we need to make it so that this part goes down like this. So to finish off the heart shape, I'm going to go back to row 18. So this is the chain 1 that we done. To the stitch before, I'm just going to insert my hook and attach yarn. Pull the yarn through and chain 1. And then I'm going to single crochet together this stitch, the chain and the one after. So you insert your hook, pull up a loop, and then insert your hook into the chain, into the back loop of the chain. Pull up a loop and then into the stitch before that and pull up a loop. And then pull through all loops on your hook. And then chain 1 and turn your work. And we're going to single crochet into the stitch that we just done. Chain 1, and then you can cut your yarn. And then once you weave in your ends, it will look neater. I've weaved in the ends apart from the finishing tail and the starting one. They can be crocheted in when we attach the front and back together. Before I do the back, I'm going to make a border in here to make the heart neater. So I go into the stitch, the 7th stitch in row 3, and attach your yarn again. And for the border, I'm just going to slip stitch into the stitches. Let me just chain 1 to attach the yarn, and then you go into the next stitch, put your hook through, pull up a loop, pull that loop through the loop on your hook as well. And there's not really the correct stitch to go through because the sides, they're not stitches, so you can just do it wherever you see fit, but make sure to keep it quite loose, otherwise your heart will be like pulled together. And you just go all the way around. But to go around the point, we're going to chain 1. So like this. So I crocheted a slip stitch into the side, chain 1, and then go onto the other side. Once you get back to the start, you just chain 1 and then cut your yarn again. And pull through. And then that is the front side of your photo card holder done. So now for the back side, we just have to do a rectangle of single crochet, so it'll be 13 across and 20 rows. You do your slip knot, chain 14, skip the first chain and work into the second chain's back loop and single crochet down so that you have 13. So then you chain 1, turn your work, and we're just going to do 19 more rows and you'll finish with a rectangle. So now that I've finished row 20, I'm going to chain 1, and now we're going to attach it to the front piece. After I'm done, I want this side to be the outside and this side to be the inside, so it'll be like this. We're working into the sides, there's no actual stitch that you have to go through, only the bottoms, so you just have to make sure that when you're slip stitching it lines up. So if you start from this corner, make sure when you're done you finish corner to corner and not like this. So to slip stitch, I'm going to put my hook into here, and on the same place on the other side, pull up a loop and just pull through. And just make sure that it always lines up. So the next bit is here, and remember not to do your slip stitches too tight. When you get to the corner, you can chain 1 to turn the corners. Remember how we worked into the back loops for our foundation chains? Well, now the stitches for the bottom should be quite clear. There should be 13. So you just put your hook into the first stitch, and make sure to work over your tail end if you want. If you don't want to work it over your tail end, you can just weave them in after. And remember to turn the corner, you chain 1. And then we just have to slip stitch up this side, and then we're nearly done. So now I've attached the last stitch, but I want a handle so that I can hang it off a bag or whatever. So to do that, I'm just going to, using the same yarn, I'm going to chain to the length I want. That seems okay. So to attach the chain to the body of the holder, I'm going to go to this stitch and just slip stitch through and chain 1, and then cut my yarn and weave in the end.